it really is. I had an opportunity to break down the film on Donovan and pull out plays, number one, that I felt were timing routes that might fit into the West Coast offense. One where he came back, he had to anticipate what the defense was going to do and then make the play. I thought he did that with tremendous accuracy. He was able to keep his eyes down the field, do some of the things that we want him to do in this West Coast system.
Andy, is there pressure to play? I mean, not quite yet, but what is a timetable? I know we're sitting in April. The timetable for him to play and for him to start. Do you see it late this year? Do you see it this year at all? Do you see it right away? What are you thinking right now? I know it's April.
Well, Chris, that's a little bit of the crystal ball theory. I brought Doug Peterson in here to play football for me, and I did that with a plan in mind. Not only does Doug come in and give me a security blanket from the quarterback position, but he also is a person that can help teach Donovan the ins and outs of this offense. And Doug will come in and be the #1 quarterback and give Donovan an opportunity to learn.
Good luck in Philadelphia. We know we'll be hearing from you later again today. You've got your guy, and hey, these fans will turn around here in New York. I'll work on them, all right?
No, I understand that. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Take care, fellas.
All right, Andy. Andy Reid, who will really, it'll be interesting to see how that Eagles offense develops in that West Coast style. Back to Akili Smith. Mel, last year at this time, where was he? Was he in this book, the Mel Kiper draft report? I mean, was he in here?
He was barely. He was a co-starter, of course, as a junior with Jason Moss, who will probably be a late-rounder undrafted free agent. Look at the quarterbacks. Dante Culpepper, huge grade going into the year. Ted White at Howard could be a 3rd or 4th round pick. Nice grade. Cade McNown, Joe's favorite, a 54. That's a nice grade for him. Michael Bishop, who may change positions. See Chad Salisbury from the University of Buffalo. Mike Cook, William and Mary. Jason Vandermaat, Alma, all on the same level of Akili Smith. So you can see where he came from to get to this point where he's the #3 pick overall. And Joe, I tell you what, you talk about a meteoric rise up the charts, none other than Akili Smith, probably in the history of the NFL draft.
It really was. And I had a chance to talk to Jeff Tedford, his offensive coordinator and his quarterback coach at Oregon. The thing that impressed me about him is Jeff said we worked real hard on his pocket skills, and you could see him respond to that. They worked real hard on him studying and learning and understanding what it takes to be a quarterback, more than just the athletic part of it. He understood that. Having a chance to sit and visit with him last night, I asked him about Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. I said, what did you learn from last year? He said, I heard Peyton put those tapes in his car right away, started studying. Those are the things that I'm going to need to do to get everybody's confidence on this football team. So the lessons of last year's quarterbacks have carried over to this year's quarterbacks. They know how hard they're going to have to study and work. And he's a young man who proved he can dedicate himself to becoming a better football player. You always like to see a guy, Chris, continue to improve and improve. This is a kid who made up his mind and has done it.
The quarterbacks have gone, and now, as Paul Harvey would say, we begin to have the rest of the story. This, you would think, with Indianapolis, may be the spot for a running back. You would think it would be Ricky Williams. And Sean Salisbury, as we got to Indianapolis, you told us at the beginning of the draft, maybe Ricky, maybe Edgerrin James, maybe Champ Bailey. If I'm the Colts, I got to think about a back, but it may not be the back that everybody's thinking of. It might be Edgerrin James. What are you hearing?
I'll tell you, Boomer, they like both of those backs. One they like better outside James, Ricky Williams inside. But let's not just focus on offense. Yeah, Marshall Faulk gone. You think, got to have a running back. They think there might be a quality one in the 2nd round also. And Bill Polian told me that if 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3, it'll be a 75% chance or better they went defense first, and you think Georgia cornerback Champ Bailey, who they love, and a running back in the 2nd round. Should be interesting on the clock. We're going to find out soon enough. Let's get out to New Orleans and Ed Werder.
Well, Sean, the Saints here have been desperately trying to trade up with the Colts for this pick, but the Colts have refused all trade offers, including a deal that would feature all of this year's draft, plus 1s and 3s next year and a 1 the following year. They have not been able to move into that position. The Colts telling them they're taking a player that they want that's on the board. Now the question is it Champ Bailey or is it Ricky Williams? If they pass on Ricky Williams, the Saints have a deal in place with the Redskins to take Ricky Williams with the 5 pick. Chris, back to you.
All right, Ed, we will see what happens. Mel, well, let's look at of course, anybody will pale in comparison to the running statistics of the Heisman Trophy winner, Ricky Williams. I mean, these are career numbers. Ricky with over 6,200 rushing for Texas. Edgerrin James, really 2-year starter in Miami, although, you know, 3,000 yards in 2 years is not too bad. If you compare and contrast these two, Mel, what would edge you one way, no pun intended, what would edge you another way?
Gave a slight edge, certainly, to Ricky Williams. I think staying around for 4 years. Remember, he would have been the 6th pick overall last year had he come out, went back, broke all those records, really put up big numbers, worked on his pass receiving, cut down on the fumbles, although he did have one late against Texas A&M. I think Ricky Williams gives a slight edge to. Edgerrin James did it over this season late in the year against UCLA and their big upset win over the Bruins and against NC State. But when he was on this year, he was unstoppable. Eric Dickerson-type size and breakaway speed in the best hands of any backup graded in a long, long time. So Edgerrin James almost caught Ricky Williams, but you have to give the edge to Williams because he did it over the long haul.
Joe, you compare and contrast. I mean, Ricky, for productivity, is unheralded.
Well, I like to look at it a little bit bigger picture. You certainly take a look at the numbers of these two men. They both put up big numbers. The thing is last year, the 7 picks the Colts had, 4 of them were on offense. You go and draft a Peyton Manning. Now you've got your quarterback. What's the next element that you need to get on your football team? You took a wide receiver last year. You've got that. Where do you want to go? You got rid of Marshall Faulk. I think you have to go the running back. Now you're going to complete that side of the ball. Then you can build through free agency and the draft the defensive side. But offensively, you're going to be set, not just for now, but for quite a period of time.
Well, I think this might be your first real curveball in the draft. I just do. I know Ricky Williams, I mean, we've been talking about him almost for 2 years, if not for 1 year. But if the Colts go running back, which I think they're going to do, don't be surprised if it's the other one, Edgerrin James. His signability may be a little bit different. That will raise a lot of eyebrows. A lot of people didn't think that a 2 and a 5 for Marshall Faulk was enough, but yet Marshall will be a free agent at the end of the year, will be very tough to sign. Bill Polian and the Colts were very happy with what they got in that trade for St. Louis. And now, one tee shot, here comes the shot into the green. Both shots, Mort, that we didn't expect him to take. I think he's going with the other back, Edgerrin James. Mortimer?
Chris, I think signability is always an issue with Bill Polian. Just look at his experience with Bianca Batuka in Carolina, holdout, injury, and a somewhat busted career so far. And no question signability was an issue with Marshall Faulk. And by the way, there are other teams with a higher grade on Edgerrin James than Ricky Williams, surprising as that is, Chris.
Mortimer, the Colts, I'm sure they took a last-ditch phone call from a team or two, but they've got the quarterback. Remember, they drafted Payton, wide receiver next. They can move the ball, and now they need a running back to take a little pressure off Peyton Manning, who set all sorts of passing records last year. They don't want him to set those same sort of records this year. They'd rather lug it. Is there activity up at the podium? Let's go up to the podium and get the pick from the Indianapolis Colts.
With the 4th choice in this draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Edgerrin James, running back, University of Miami. The Washington Redskins are now on the clock.
See,
Well, Ricky is obviously disappointed, and he's wondering what's happening. Now, is it just a Swami crystal ball that I just thought up? But they're both special backs. And now, what do you think, Mel, that Ricky Williams is 5 or lower?
I think it might have had something to do, certainly, with signability. I had Ricky Williams 1 on the draft board, Edgerrin James 2, and I don't know if a lot of people out there had Edgerrin James rated that high. I didn't put him over Williams because Williams did it over a longer period of time. But as I said earlier, when James was on, he was unstoppable. You watch a kid here, athletic and great tackles, and then turn on the jets. And I think that's the difference here with Edgerrin James. Big back who has size, has speed, and has toughness. Very fluid runner. Also, the outstanding hands coming out of the backfield, then the moves in the broken field, that ability after the catch for a kid who's strong and powerful. Has kind of a gliding style, Joe. Sets up his blockers, slips a tackle, continues on down the field. 17 touchdown runs this past season. This kid smells the end zone, and he made a lot of big plays out of the running game, Joe, late in the year, particularly against UCLA in their big upset win, and also against NC State in the bowl game. But is that enough, Joe, to overtake Ricky Williams?
I don't think so. I think you really know a little bit more of what you get with Ricky Williams. I'll tell you right now, Ricky Williams is pissed. Flat out upset. And if you get an athlete upset, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's going to have something to prove. Whoever gets Ricky Williams is going to have an athlete that's really going to want to prove a point. But it also creates a major problem for the Washington Redskins. They want Champ Bailey, okay? Now you got Ricky Williams sitting there. They certainly need a running back. It not only muddles the water as far as what the trade will be possibly with New Orleans, but now Charlie Casserly and Norv Turner have to sit there and say, wow, we never expected both of these athletes to be here. Now we have to make a choice. Which way do we go?
Joe, they had Skip Hicks. You know, they drafted Skip Hicks last year out of UCLA. They had Stephen Davis.